Expected to begin tomorrow in the wrongful death of a 5-year-old developmentally disabled boy.
The parents convicted of murder. Also charged, a Catholic Charities social worker who was hired to watch over the boy and make sure he was safe.
Mike Mason following today's jury selection and a move by attorneys for Catholic Charities to close the courtroom.
After we aired our report on Monday, attorneys for the defendant, Catholic Charities, filed a motion to exclude any recordings from the plaintiff or of the court proceedings altogether. But the judge today denied that motion. This was a horrific case of abuse and neglect involving 5-year-old Jordan Rodriguez, who was disabled and nonverbal. Reports show he was not only physically abused with several fractured ribs, but he was also malnourished, only weighing 15 pounds at the time of his death. Investigators say his mother and her boyfriend admitted to burying his body in garbage bags in the backyard of their Cleveland home. The wrongful death lawsuit, which is now going to trial, was filed against Jordan's mother, Larissa Rodriguez, her boyfriend, Christopher Rodriguez, and Nancy Caraballo. She's the Catholic Charities social worker who was hired to do welfare checks on Jordan. Investigators found she failed to do those checks and instead was buying food stamps from Jordan's mother illegally. The mother and her boyfriend are both serving prison sentences of at least 25 years. Caraballo received some prison time as well. Attorney J. Paul Deritani is representing Jordan's estate. After he spoke with us, Catholic Charities filed a motion to bar the media from the courtroom and forbid anyone from speaking publicly about the case. Although the judge decided to allow cameras, yesterday he ruled that no one involved in this case could speak any further about it. Opening statements are expected to begin tomorrow. You can count on 19 News for gavel-to-gavel coverage of the Rodriguez trial. Reporting from the Justice Center, Mike Mason, 19 News.